Hey everyone, this is 19 Minutes with Joseph. I'm Joseph Hall, the Executive Director of the Kelly Strayhorn Theater. And it's been a while since I've done one of these, so bear with me. Today we have on Jessica Lynne, and I am going to bring her in. We are going to bring in, oh, here she is.
Hey,
Hello.
it's so good to see your face, Joseph.
It's so good to see your face too, Jessica. Oh my
Aw,
goodness.
I
Uh,
know.
I just want to like a moment just to stare at you.
Yeah, it's been too long.
It's been a long time. I actually don't. I was trying to remember the last time I saw you. Was that may have been at the Shed opening when the
Yes,
Shed
you
opened?
you were leading the dance floor in the Beyonce activity. It's great.
I had help, and you were dancing a little bit too. I
I
think.
don't know what I was doing. I think I was running around. I feel like I was dancing and then I was like running around to like where the food was. I don't really know.
I mean, there was certainly a lot to do, a lot to see, a lot of people to see. It was, yeah, it was over the top.
It was good though.
Um,
Good though. It's
yeah.
always good to see you.
Likewise. So just to give folks an introduction, this is 19 Minutes with Joseph Hall. I'm Joseph Hall, the Executive Director of the Kelly Strayhorn Theater. Today I'm in the Alloy Studios, in the studio and in our administrative offices, and I'm joined by the wonderful, brilliant
Oh.
Jessica Lynne. Jessica does many things in this world, and one thing that she has done is founded Arts.Black. Um, Before I pass it over to you, Jessica, I'm just going to give a visual description of myself.
Hmm.
I'm a light-skinned black man, bald. Today I guess, have a pretty beardy, pretty stunning eyebrows. I'm wearing like a turquoise T-shirt in a dance studio. It's very white and bright. Um, and Jessica, would you mind giving a description as well?
Absolutely, I love that. So I guess I'm light skinned depending on who you ask and on what day. Brown skinned black person. I'm wearing a blue wig that is cut in a pixie cut shape. I have a gold septum ring and I have on brown lipstick. I'm in my bedroom. And behind me, you can see some sunflowers. You can see a spider. You can see a couple of shelves on my bookshelf and a Roberta Black album, and I'm wearing an off the shoulder white dress.
Thank you. So Jessica, will you tell us a little bit more about who you are,
Yeah,
and maybe also how we know each other?
of course. So I am a writer and critic and co-founder and co-editor of Arts.Black alongside Taylor Aldridge. Arts.Black is a journal that publishes Black critics from across the diaspora. And basically, our mandate is to make sure that these voices are heard, that the ways in which Black folks are thinking about cultural production near and far. I'm sorry
Oh, I see you.
about that. I guess my internet. But Arts.Black is, dedicated to cultivating rigorous writing by Black writers. Um, Joseph and I met 2014, Joseph?
Yes.
2014. So at the time, I was working as development manager at 651 Arts. Baby in the game, I came into nonprofit arts administration through development work and under the mentorship of Shay Wafer, who is a legend in her own right. Hi, Shay. And Joseph, you came in my second year, and I think you were a producer. I know the titles were like
What
shifted.
what was my title? programming something, maybe programming manager, I think.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
It's a small shop, so everyone was doing everything. And I just remember, you know, as the youngest person there on the team, with you, Robert, Candace, Shay, Aaron, who had just left, I was really in awe of all of the ways that you kind of embodied a sharp curiosity, you know, like a real hunger for like artists and like artists who were doing groundbreaking work. And that was really important for me to see. And here we are 6 years later.
Yes. Oh gosh, 6 years
I,
later. Wow.
what is
That's
time?
that's wild. What is time? What is time? And and was that during the time when you and Taylor founded Arts Black?
Yeah, so I Stop Black was founded formally at the end of 2014, although Taylor and I have been in conversation throughout like the majority of that year, just thinking about what it could be, what we were doing in the art world. Our world is crazy. And, you know, I think both of us came to that conclusion after we met and we were like, okay, let's try to figure out this thing together. And so, yeah, Art Stop Black comes at the end of 2014 in December.
When you say the art world is crazy, what are you thinking about?
So much, Joseph, so much. I think
What are you thinking about right now?
what am I thinking about right now? I am thinking about safety and care. I'm thinking about the ways in which it is very easy for the infrastructures of the art world, museums, galleries, publications, donors, collectors, funders, to really superficially engage in concerns of equity and radical politics that don't actually always materially translate to how people are being cared for on the ground. So this for me is anything that includes a funder kind of hopping on to jargon that they have acquired by listening to folks and kind of designing funding programs that respond to that jargon. But internally, nothing is shifting in how they think
Yeah.
about philanthropy and its kind of complicitness in other things. You know, this includes, I don't know, like white folks sending me emails asking me to do stuff when they were not thinking about me 4 weeks ago. You know, like it's all of that. It's the
Yes.
infrastructure that
Yeah.
feels okay to kind of pull and have access to I hate this word, but quote unquote marginalized folks in times of crisis. And yet we don't actually see that care being translated outside of kind of moments of intense uprising, right? So, you know.
I've been thinking a lot about, so I started here March 2nd, and then so like,
Everything erupted.
everything is happening. And in the midst of this current, movement for Black Lives, of course, so many organizations have put out statements, and Kelly Strayhorn did too. But I hesitated because I knew everyone was just putting out these statements. But what is really the action and the change behind those statements now and long term? So the idea of like breaking silence is important, and in articulating a stance is important. But after that, then what? How are we really putting actions, behind those words instead of making those words? I often think of, diversity, equity, and inclusion. To me, I'm fine with never using those words within my organization again because they serve no purpose any longer. Or they do actually serve a purpose, but not the purpose they were kind of originally thought to serve. But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about, words and action and how those two really need to live together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, as a writer, I think often about words, always, right? Always about words and the ways in which someone in a position like I am functions as a type of witness, the ways in which it is okay for those of us who are writers to kind of take some time to be quiet for a moment. I do feel like institutionally speaking, people are scrambling, and the easiest thing to do is to kind of like make a statement full of nice words that generally tend to mean something, that is a very easy thing to do. It is much harder and a significant amount of moral courage and will to actually push towards some sort of action. And I think the fact of the matter is, in the arts, it's been my experience that it's harder to do that when leadership often so much reflects kind of the same apparatuses of harm, right? Intentionally or not, like intent is never the thing. It's always the thing that matters. And so the question that I'm asking myself as a person in the world, as a writer, is like, what new containers do we need? Like, what's the new infrastructure? What are the new tools, the new apparatuses? Because the statements, no one's gonna read these statements in October. Like no one's gonna read them.
And I also think that, unfortunately, because of all of these words being generated by all of these institutions, and then funders reading those words, watching these institutions, I don't hear so much about the institutions who actually have been doing this work, who was founded on this work, the artists who have led this work, led these institutions for so long, that this work has been done, and it continues to be done. And organizations founded by and led by Black folks, and then also learning through the years. Oh, we were not someone, we didn't focus on also being an organization that interrogates our own homophobic, transphobic ways. That so many of those organizations have also been kind of learning themselves. And I hate that I believe we're losing those organizations right now. That why aren't, release a solidarity statement and name all of the organizations that have been doing that, or all of the artists, whatever. How can we kind of divert the attention? But Jessica, we started like right away, and I'm supposed to ask you, how are you? Like, what's going on? How are you? How is your soul? I know that's such a charged question these days.
But it's important. I think, okay, I'm going to try to like connect your statement, which was really important, with how I'm feeling. So this morning I woke up and I watched the short film Salacia by Tourmaline, which is a short film recently acquired by the Museum of Modern Art in New York, that is about Seneca Village, the 19th century area in New York City, present day Central Park. That was a place for free Black folks, Indigenous folks, and other people. And it was kind of taken by the city to make way for the park that a lot of folks are very familiar with. It is also the story of freedom and intervention as embodied through the spirit of Mary Jones, who was a 19th century Black sex worker. And that film, starting my day with that film, really kind of like woke me up. And I think to this point about like who are artists and institutions that are still freedom dreaming, that are still kind of trying to think through other pathways, I'm going to say now, like, Tourmaline is one such artist, right? And so to start my day in that way was really special. I think generally I'm trying to be mindful and remind myself that there are artists and places that are really building the pyramids, and so much of my time during quarantine has been spent in gleeful dedication to reminding myself of that. I'm also a new gardener, so I'm like art/garden/ maybe I'm a new farmer, like I'm trying to like hold on to some art and green space. I think most days I'm feeling good, right? But we're in the middle of uprising, of catastrophe, and I also feel like it's okay to say that some days we're not okay. Personally, some days I'm not okay. But today I'm feeling good, and today I'm feeling thankful for artists like Tourmaline who are reminding us to dream and dream deeply and as boldly as possible, that like we can do this, we can kind of transform and imagine and conjure and build a new world, you know?
Yeah, I like, you said some days it's okay to not be okay.
Mm,
Yeah. And also I think we have to remind ourselves that it's also okay to experience joy in this
mm,
moment, because
mm,
I think when certain folks ask me how I'm doing, I feel there's an expectation of this like trauma ridden
yeah.
response. But some days, yes, I want to experience joy without any guilt of
Yeah.
experiencing
Mm,
that, and I think that we deserve that.
yeah.
So I'm glad that you're good today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. I mean, I have to say, Joseph, whenever I think about our time together at 651, as you left and kind of went to bed in the Bronx, and whenever I just encountered you out, like you radiate joy. I mean, people who know this, but there is no joy like Joseph Hall on the dance floor. Like truly, truly unparalleled. And thinking about that brings me a lot of pleasure too, because it is important to see ourselves in that way, right? To know that like it's great to be in your body, to be happy, to kind of feel it from like the soles of your feet to the tip of your head. So
Yes.
I'm just gonna say that out loud, and I hope people in the comments hope get this experience one day of dancing with Joseph, because it is truly joyful.
I would love that. When we can dance together again, please
Yeah,
come on through and dance.
it's
That'd be
time.
amazing. Jessica, I don't. First of all, I wonder what is the Art Stop Black community, and how is that community doing? Is
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so easy to answer that question.
That's a really good question. Who is the Arts That Black community? I mean, we are first and foremost like it's a community of writers and readers, right? I think people who love Black folks, who love Black thought, who are interested in what our context, typically younger Black writers, how they see the world around them. I think we have been the recipients of a lot of like caring collaborations from other poets, from visual artists, from performers, from mentors, right? From I'm thinking of everyone from like Taylor's Elders in Detroit to
Mm,
like a Shea Wafer, right?
yes.
Um, it's hard to kind of always know because it's a digital platform, and I think there are people who read as dedicated like loyalists, and then I think there are people who read because they're curious about like what we're doing online. I hope that Arts That Black community folks feel aligned with like our sense of radical politic, you know, that we're two queer Black women who want to see a world in which our types of beings can thrive and be safe. Um, but sometimes it's just hard to know, you know. People
Yeah.
also, I think a lot of people um, right now are reconfiguring broadly kind of like what community looks like for them in the context of uprising where so much is at stake. And I really hope that we as a journal, as like a team, can be a place where folks feel like they can see the world that they want reflected in the people that we publish and the types of
Mm,
that we cover.
awesome. And is there something in particular that Arts Black has been doing in this moment, or are there ways that you've shifted during COVID, during Black Lives Matter, uprising?
You know, we move very slowly, unabashedly.
Great. Yes.
I'm giggling a little bit because about a month ago, we put out a list of like bail funds, mutual aid networks, other organizations that are just doing fantastic work, like the Okra Project, for example, in New York. And it seemed to cause like a stir. Like people were like, oh my God, like, where'd you get this idea? And we're just like, you mean the idea that you put material resources into the places that you believe in? I don't know where I would get that idea from. You know, like my parents, Black feminism. It's just a responsibility and an obligation um, that we want to tend to. So I don't know if Art Stop Black is doing anything differently. I mean, I think that we're standing in a truth. And in terms of like a publishing schedule, I'm not about to play to a cycle of you know, like the narrative. It's a long game. Like liberation, freedom, those are long games. And we've been in it. We've been in it. We're here for it. I don't think that means we need to move any faster than what we've already been, how we've already been moving. I hope that answers the question. I mean,
It,
we
it,
just
it,
we're here. We're here. You can access us, but
that's great, and I think it speaks back to my point of these organizations, institutions, projects, artists that were kind of founded
mm,
on so many of the principles and beliefs that some people are just learning now.
right.
That you have always Arts.Black has always been that kind of organized in that way, and you're continuing to do that even now, and that's fucking phenomenal.
Thanks, Joseph. I think so too.
Yes. Jessica, I wonder if you have any advice for me as a new executive director. And just for folks joining, I'm Joseph Hall. I'm the executive director of Kelly Strayhorn, and I'm here with Jessica Lynne, one of the co-founders of Arts.Black. And I began my position here on March 2nd. So, there's still lots of learning that's happening. And you're a brilliant mind. I wonder if you have anything.
Mondays.
What's that? What did you say?
I said on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Sure. On Mondays and Tuesdays.
What's some advice? I think we all should be listening to young people right now. Like, people are out in the street. They're tearing shit up. They're saying, like, we're not about to take this anymore. They are, like, naming the problems. They're naming solutions to the problems. They're asking sharp, rigorous, thoughtful questions. It's young people's world, and I think that we should be listening to them. Which isn't to say that we can't be, in some instances, a part of that category of young people, but I'm talking about, like, the babies, like the high schoolers, like the folks who are, like, trying to figure out if they're going to university or college in the fall. Like, they're doing it. And I want to feel like the way in which I'm contributing to new worlds is going to be something that is a part of a project they can be proud of,
Yeah.
So that's my advice. I'm like, listen to the young people. They got it. They're doing something right.
That's, coming back to Pittsburgh, there are so many young artists that I don't know. So many groups that didn't exist when I wasn't here. And so many of the actions taking place are led by this group called Black Young and Educated. They're on Instagram, Black Young EDU. I'm thinking of True T Pittsburgh. Really young, Black-led, queer-led, and collectives of friends and like-minded folks, and folks who want to imagine a world so differently than what it currently is. And I often feel like, okay, there are some things that you are not as capable of imagining. So step aside and let these folks imagine and support them in the ways that they need to be supported.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Do you have advice for all of us?
Oh, wow.
All of us who are in this Instagram or will watch this IG live?
Advice. I am going to say, in addition to young people, I think that we have been given and blessed with some roadmaps from elders. So, in the spirit of intergenerational intervention, my advice would be to kind of like figure out what study looks like for you right now. So, as an example, study for me has meant reading key texts or returning to key texts in full that I have either not read before or have read in part and need to come back to. So most recently, that's been June Jordan's Affirmative Acts. That's been Ruth Wilson Gilmore's Golden Gulag. That's been Nawal El Sadari's Woman at Point Zero. That's and Angela Davis, who's ever important. I've been reading some children's books too. And so that kind of like map of study, like what will freedom look like? What tools do I need? What vocabulary do I need? Who are the people I should have around me? I think so much of that is coming to me through reading, and identifying kind of the nature of study for ourselves right now feels really important, right? To be matched with then how we show up in the proverbial streets.
Great. Maria Bowman Morales says, thank you for that. Studying, incubating.
Hi, Maria.
She also says, come on. So, yeah, okay, great. Jessica, do you have any last thoughts? And there's no pressure. Oh, I think I may have lost you.
You know, I just hope everyone's staying hydrated. It's hot. Move slowly.
Stay hydrated, move slowly. I think we were coming in and out a little bit.
Sometimes.
And say no sometimes. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jessica. It's such a gift to see you, to hear you, to spend this time with you and everyone who's in this room and who has contributed just to this energy. I know that I appreciate it a lot. So thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah. Have a wonderful day. I hope you go into your days with your plants and with gardening and with joy.
I receive it all.
Yes. So this was 19 Minutes with Joseph Hall, and I had with me joining Jessica Lynne. Check out arts.black. It's arts.black, right?
That's it.
Type in arts.black, and you will be there.
You will be on the homepage.
And is it arts.black on social media as well?
On Instagram, we are arts.black, as in period black. On Twitter, we are arts.black.
Boom. Done.
There it is.
And Kelly Strayhorn is KS Theater on all social media. Also, July 16, we have a fundraiser hotline ring with 6 other organizations in community with or led by Black, queer, people of color. So check that out, kelly-strayhorn.org. Okay, Jessica, thank you. Thank you.
Great.
All right, see you.
We have learned so much